Montgomery Burns isn't just the richest man in Springfield, he's the one who pulls the strings. With every decision, he tightens his grip on the town, but his wealth only seems to deepen his isolation. Today we'll uncover what drives the owner of the Springfield nuclear power plant. Stay tuned to explore his world. Montgomery Burns lives the hardest life money can buy, not because it's risky or difficult, but because it turns everything into a cold, careful plan. You don't just live in Springfield, you look down on it. While others worry about bills, traffic, or lunch, your life is measured in profit and power. This life isn't about dreams. It's about owning everything, controlling everything, and knowing everyone has a price. Every morning starts the same, not with sunlight, but with the curtains pulled by a servant you don't remember hiring. The mansion is silent, not peaceful, but fearful. Workers whisper when they pass your door. No one makes a sound near the east wing. That's where you fired a butler for sighing. He worked for you for 20 years, but you didn't notice until he was gone. Getting out of bed takes time. Your body doesn't obey like it used to. You're light as paper and fragile. Your back is hunched, as if it's giving up before the rest of you does. But you rise. You always do. Not because of strength, but because of habit. A man who spent his life chasing power doesn't stop just because his knees hurt. Your clothes are laid out. Always the same. A suit, a green jacket, a stiff collar. You don't dress for comfort. You dress to remind people of what money looks like when it never has to explain itself. You button each sleeve slowly, your hands shaking but determined. By the time you reach the bottom step, Smithers is already there, clipboard in hand, concern on his face. He's the only one who still looks at you like you matter, beyond your money. Running the Springfield nuclear power plant doesn't take much effort anymore. It runs itself badly. The inspectors stopped coming after you bought them off. Homer Simpson still works there, still pressing buttons like he's gambling. You let it happen, not because he's good, but because replacing him would involve paperwork. Plus, you enjoy watching him mess up. It's one of the few things that keeps you entertained. The plant is a reflection of you. Corners have been cut so much there are no corners left. Pipes leak, panels spark, emergency plans haven't been updated since the Cold War. You once fixed a reactor with duct tape. It worked for 6 months. When it failed, you blamed the intern and docked his pay. That's how things are under your rule. Nothing is ever your fault, and nothing is ever too broken to make money from. The people who work for you aren't employees. They're assets. If one falls, another takes their place. You fired people for spilling coffee, wrinkled shirts, or making eye contact. Morale is low, but turnover is high, which keeps wages low. You've always seen kindness as weakness and weakness as a financial problem. Meetings are quick. You talk, others listen. Sometimes you press a button and a trapdoor opens. It doesn't matter where it leads. The fear is enough. Once a union rep tried to demand better working conditions. You had Smithers show him your collection of ivory back scratchers, casually mentioning which species were now extinct. The rep left in silence and wages stayed the same. There's no joy in your routine. There's comfort, predictability, and control, but joy would mean emotion. You haven't laughed in decades. The last time was during a corporate merger when the other CEO had a heart attack. You chuckled, then signed the deal and raised energy prices by 40%. People see you as a villain, but you don't mind. Reputation is just a tool. You've been booed at parades, egged at charity dinners, and once mistaken for a Halloween decoration. All it proved was that Springfield notices you. Fear is attention. Attention is control. And control is the only thing that still feels real in a life that's grown routine. Your days are slow, not lazy, but heavy, deliberate, like someone who knows nothing good ever comes from rushing. Lunch is served at noon sharp. It's made up of food no one else would dare eat. Boiled condor eggs, whale blubber, tea from a plant banned in 17 countries. The food has no taste. You eat to survive, not for pleasure. Smithers is your only constant companion. He tracks your schedule, guards your secrets, and makes your life easier, like a butler greasing a guillotine. He worships you quietly, without question. You never said thank you. It's not expected. Gratitude suggests need, and you built your life on pretending you need no one. Your hobbies don't involve fun. You collect rare things, cursed amulets, stolen treasures, bones of extinct creatures. They fill rooms you hardly visit. You once tried to buy the moon. When that didn't work, you funded an artificial sun project to block out the real one. It wasn't about light. It was about control. It always has been. Sometimes you look out from your office. The town stretches below you like a map of debts and favors. You know every inch, every business you've touched, every family whose bills are paid by wages you control. You watch them live their lives, unaware or maybe just numb to the fact that their comfort exists because you allow it. You've built something huge, not just a company, but a system that feeds off your greed and keeps growing. But the higher you climb, the less you hear. No laughter reaches the top. No warmth comes in. Just the hum of electricity, the movement of money from one account to another, cold and untouched. There are nights when the house is too quiet, that you walk through empty rooms, past portraits of people you don't remember. The silence isn't peaceful. It's a reminder that power, no matter how useful, can't hug you back. You once had a chance for something softer. A young woman with bright eyes and a sharp tongue. She saw through you, and that made her dangerous. You almost changed for her. Almost. But in the end, she wanted your presence, and you could only offer your status. She left. You doubled your wealth 6 months later. You don't dwell on the past. Regret has no value. But some nights, staring at an untouched glass of expensive wine, you wonder if any of it mattered. The billions, the companies, the power plants, none of them speak. None of them stay. People die, markets change, only the hunger for more remains. You've lived beyond your expected end. Medical science says it's impossible. So does common sense. But you keep going, your body refusing to shut down. Somewhere below, Homer Simpson probably spilled coffee on something. Somewhere else, a family's power got shut off because they missed a payment. You see it all. You feel none of it. Because that's what you've made. A life where everything is within reach, but nothing ever touches you. Montgomery Burns doesn't wind down. He powers down like an old machine, running on fumes and stubbornness. After a day spent ruling from the shadows, you return to your mansion in silence. No fanfare, no cheers, just quiet. The staff doesn't greet you. They don't ask questions. They know their place, and you know yours. Dinner is served by someone whose name you can't recall. The food is arranged perfectly, but tastes like nothing. You eat slowly, not out of politeness, but because your joints ache with each bite. Smithers stands nearby, pretending to organize papers. He asks if you need anything. You say no, though your knees groan and your back feels like rusted metal. The house is too big for one person, but that's the point. You don't need the space. You need the statement. Every echo in the hallway reminds anyone who enters that they don't belong. Nights aren't restful. You don't sleep much. Instead, you wander. Sometimes through the trophy room, past shelves lined with items stolen or bought under threat. These aren't souvenirs. They're victories. The bedroom feels more like a bunker. Heavy doors, reinforced walls, a single security camera hidden behind a painting of yourself. You don't fear death. You fear being forgotten. Mornings come too quickly. Smithers arrives with his usual reports. Stocks are up. There's a protest scheduled for Thursday. You approve a plan to release bees into the crowd. It's cheaper than hiring security and more effective. Your calendar holds a public event. You hate these, but they're necessary. The people need to see you. Not to admire, but to remember who holds the reins. You attend the ribbon cutting of a new power grid. You cut the ribbon with gold scissors, then raise the neighborhood's rates by 15%. They clap anyway. A reporter asks about environmental concerns. You gave a vague statement that could mean anything. Then you change the subject to a donation to the Springfield Opera. You didn't donate anything yet, but you plan to, just enough to get your name on the building. Back at the plant, lawyers arrive with another lawsuit. Something about exposure. The details don't matter. You sign a check, adding a clause banning future complaints. Problem solved, not because it's fair, but because it's fast. You don't do justice. You are efficient. There's a board meeting. You sit at the head of the table while the executives tiptoe through their presentations. They show you slides. You show them a chart of quarterly profits. Then cut 5% from everyone's budget. One asks about employee safety. You replace him before lunch. By evening, the lights in Sector 7G flicker. Not because of a technical issue, but because you ordered engineers to reroute power to my office to save on electricity bills. That's where Homer works. And if the lights go out there, no one will care. Dinner again. This time you eat alone, while reviewing old photographs. Most are black and white. Some are hand-painted. You don't recognize the faces, just the labels. Partner, opponent, asset. One is labeled mother. You flip it over and file it away. The night drags on. You stare at a monitor tracking global energy stocks. A red arrow turns green. You smile faintly. Not because you earned it, but because you expected it. Success isn't surprising anymore. It's routine. And that's the real trap. When you've won for so long, there's nothing left to chase, only things to protect. A call comes in from an associate overseas. Something about uranium shipments? You approve it, then raise the handling fee. They complain. You hang up. Respect is best kept with silence and invoices. As midnight arrives, the mansion grows colder. Not from the weather, but from absence. A cold that seeps into your bones and never leaves. You shuffle to your private chamber. You pass the painting again. The one of you standing atop a mountain of coins, arms outstretched. The eyes follow you. You sit in your chair, not to rest, but to watch. The monitors glow. Springfield flickers beneath you. Tiny lights, fragile systems. You own every switch, every circuit. Yet it never feels like enough. Not because you're missing something, but because wanting is all you've ever known. And when your eyes finally close, it's not sleeping. It's maintenance, a pause, because tomorrow the game resets. The machine hums, the empire stands, and you rise again, not because you must, but because no one else deserves the throne. This was the life of Montgomery Burns uncovered. So who should we dive into next? Drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe for more deep dives into Springfield's most quietly broken characters.